3, 2, 1.
Jai Shishi Guru Gaura Chandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shigiri Raj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Sri Caitanya SCSMission morning class. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Haribo. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Caitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. We are continuing to read chapter 24, and we are now in verse 331, and Mahaprabhu is giving further instruction to Srila Sanatana Goswami regarding his own particular seva to the Lord.
Devi, excuse me. What volume of the Maria Lila?
This is the 5th volume. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda.
Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Haribol. Text 331. Mantra Adhikari Mantra Siddhyadi Shodhana Diksha Pratasmriti Kritya Socha Achamana. You should discuss the qualifications necessary for receiving a mantra. So these are the things which Mahaprabhu wishes Srila Sanatana Goswami to teach others through his literature. The perfection of the mantra, the purification of the mantra, initiation, morning duties, remembrance of the Supreme Lord, cleanliness, and washing the mouth and other parts of the body. Purport. The following injunction is given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas regarding mantra adhikari, the qualification for receiving mantra initiation. Mantra means Gayatri mantra. Tantrikeshu cha mantreshu dikshayam yoshitam api sadivinam adhikaro sti sudradinam chasadhyat. Sudras and women who are chaste and sincerely interested in understanding the absolute truth are qualified to be initiated with the Pancharatrika mantras. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Mam hi partha vyapashritya jaipishu papayonaya shriyo vaishyastata shudras tepiyanti parangatim. This is not something that really is an issue that is widely discussed in the West because we're not part of the Varnashram system. But generally the lower castes, they didn't receive Gayatri mantra. Only the Brahmins and Kshatriyas did. But that is not actually the case. That isn't the real understanding of this system. So if one wants to serve Krishna, it doesn't matter whether one is a Shudra, Vaishya, or woman. If one is sincerely eager to chant the Hare Krishna mantra or Diksha mantra, one is qualified to be initiated according to the Pancharatrika process. So some judgment according to the external qualifications. And in the West, we're generally considered to be not even Sudras. Not even like in the civilized system at all. But within that system, it doesn't really matter. If one has some divine or qualification for desiring real spiritual progress, then he is qualified. However, according to the Vedic principles, only a Brahmin who is fully engaged in his occupational duty can be initiated, and so on. Regarding the mantra Siddhyadi Shodhana, the efficacy of the mantra, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives 16 divisions, which are confirmed in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Siddha, Sadhya, Shushidhari, Kramaj, Gyeyo, Vichakshanai. These 16 divisions are grouped under 4 principles. And then there are subdivisions. There is Shodhana, or purification of the mantra, but there is no such consideration for the Krishna mantra. Krishna mantra there's no question of it not being pure.
Devi, is that the Mahamantra?
Yes.
Krishna mantra?
Yes, Krishna mantra or the Krishna, yeah. The Krishna mantra is so strong, there's no question of Shodhana. As far as Diksha is concerned, one should consult Madhya Lila. On the whole, when a person is initiated according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi, he has already attained the position of a Brahmin. This is enjoined in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. As bell metal can be turned into gold when treated with mercury, so a disciple initiated by a bona fide guru immediately attains the position of a Brahmin. And there are so many different things here. But these are not, these things are necessary to understand in a general principle for us. But it is very important for people who have been raised in the Vedic society to understand this point. Because what happened was, over time, it became so stringent in terms of external things that the internal thing was lost. In other words, what is the whole thing for? The whole thing is to become a pure devotee of Krishna, the whole system. The whole Varnashram system of social divisions and so on. That's all for spiritual advancement. So if one is already spiritually advanced, it doesn't matter what kind of birth he took in terms of those considerations. He's already got the final end of that, so there's no problem with his becoming, receiving all these different mantras. Text 332. Danta Davana Snana Sandhyadi Vandana Guru Seva Urdhva Pundra Chakradi Dharana. You should describe how in the morning, this is Mahaprabhu telling Sanatana Goswami what to include in his book, this particular book. You should describe how in the morning one should regularly brush his teeth, take bath, offer prayers to the Lord, and offer obeisances to the spiritual master. You should also describe how one should render service to the spiritual master and paint one's body in 12 places with urdhva pundra or tilak, as well as how one should stamp one's body with the holy names of the Lord or the symbols of the Lord, such as the disc and club. Gopi Chandan Malya Driti Tulasi Adharana Vastrapita Griha Sanskara Krishna Prabodhana. After this, You should describe how one should decorate his body with gopi chandan, which is tilak, wear neck beads, collect tulsi leaves from the tulsi tree, cleanse his cloth, cleanse the altar, cleanse his whole house or apartment, and go to the temple and ring the bell just to draw the attention of Lord Krishna. And Krishna is not particularly attracted by the sound of a bell. But it is the consciousness by which one does these things, which is important. Pancha Shodasha Panchasha Upachare Archana Panchakala Puja Arti Krishnera Bhojana Shayana. Also describe deity worship, wherein one should offer food to Krishna at least 5 times daily, and in due time place him on a bed. You should also describe the process of offering arti and the worship of the Lord according to the list of 5, 16, or 50 ingredients. So many things. There are many, many principles here. I'll read this purport. I remember reading it in the first time. And I was like, oh my goodness, so many things. But it was very exciting. The 5 ingredients for worshiping the deity are very good scent, or good fragrance, very good flowers, incense, a lamp, and something edible. So you see those things where we offer the scent to the Lord. And as for sada so pachara, the 16 ingredients, one should provide a sitting place for the Lord, ask Krishna to sit down, offer arghya, offer water to wash his legs, wash the mouth, offer madhuparka, offer water for washing the mouth, bathe the Lord, offer garments, decorate the Lord's body with ornaments, offer sweet scents, offer flowers with a good fragrance, like a rose or champaka flower, offer incense, offer a lamp, give good food, and offer prayers. Okay, I'm going to read all these. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a vivid description of what is required in deity worship. There are 64 items mentioned. In the temple, worship should be so gorgeous that all 64 items should be available for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead. Sometimes it is impossible to get all 64 items. Therefore, we recommend that at least on the first day of installation, the 64 items should be available. When the Lord is established, worship with all 64 items should continue as far as possible. And the 64 items are as follows. There must be a big bell hanging in the front of the temple room so that whoever comes into the temple room can ring this bell. This item is called prabodhana, or offering oneself submissively to the Lord. This is the first item. The visitor must chant Jai Shri Radha Govinda or Jai Shri Radha Madhava when he rings the bell. In either case, the word Jai must be uttered. So when we're coming into the temple, we always say Jai Shri Shri Guru Gaurachandra, Jai Shri Giriraj, Jai Gurudev. We don't just come in like we're coming into an ordinary room. One should immediately offer obeisances to the Lord, falling down like a stick. Ladies don't do that, by the way. There must be regular Mangal Arati in the temple during the early morning and an hour and a half before the sun rises. There must be an asan, a sitting place, before the altar. The asan is for the spiritual master. The disciple brings everything before the spiritual master, and the spiritual master offers everything to the personality of Godhead. After Mangalarti, the deity is supposed to wash his teeth by using a twig. Therefore, a twig must be offered. Water must be offered for washing the deity's feet. Arghya should be offered. Water for achman should be offered. The madhu parka, or a small bowl containing honey, a little ghee, a little water, a little sugar, yogurt, and milk should be offered. This is called Madhuparka Achman. One should place a wooden slippers before the Lord. One should massage the body of the Lord. One should massage the body of the Lord with oil. With a soft, wet sponge, one should remove all the oil smeared over the Lord's body. Then these are the different items of bathing the Lord. One should bathe the Lord with water in which nicely scented flowers have been soaking for some time. After bathing the body of the Lord with water, one should bathe him with milk. Then one should bathe him with yogurt. Then one should bathe him with ghee. Then one should bathe him with honey. Then one should bathe him with water in which sugar has been dissolved. Then one should wash the deity with water and chant this mantra. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpa vriksha lakshavateshu surabhira vipalyantam Lakshmi shahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam Govinda mahari purusham tamaham bhajami. This is very nice. And these are different, there are different standards of doing all these things, of course. But these are the, these are the ones that are given by Srila Sanatana Goswami under the direction of Mahaprabhu. One should dry the entire body of the Lord with a towel. New garments should be put on the Lord's body. And for example, when we have large deity, this is for the deity like made out of grass. So many things are offered, but these are offered by meditation otherwise. A sacred thread should be placed on his body. Water should be offered for cleansing his mouth. Achman. Nicely scented oils like liquid sandalwood pulp should be smeared over the Lord's body. All kinds of ornaments and crowns should be placed on his body. Then one should offer flower garlands and decorative flowers. One should burn incense. Lamps should be offered. Precautions should also be taken that atheists and demons cannot harm the body of the Lord. So that's why we keep the door locked. I mean, it's very unlikely that someone will want to do that, but that can happen. And we've seen it actually. So we do take some precaution about this. Food offerings should be placed before the Lord. Spices for chewing should be offered. Betel nuts should be offered. At the proper time there should be arrangements so that the Lord may take rest in his bed. The Lord's hair should be combed and decorated. First-class garments should be offered. A first-class helmet should be offered. In Chicago, the deities Kishore, At one time, Nyasi Maharaj went to India and he bought a very beautiful helmet, pure silver helmet for Sri Kishore, and a matching beautiful crown for Srimati Radharani, Sri Kishori. It was extraordinary, beautiful. A first-class helmet should be offered. The garments should be scented. There should be kushtuba jewels and other ornaments offered. A variety of flowers should be offered. Another Mangalarti should be offered. A mirror should be offered. So this is very, very intricate deity worship. And this is not really done, it's not necessarily that all of these things are done. But it is still very nice to hear these things. It depends on the degree, different kinds of standards of deity worship. The Lord should be carried on a nice palanquin to the altar. The Lord should be seated on a throne. Again, water should be given for the washing of his feet. Something again should be offered for eating. Evening offering, arti should be offered. The Lord should be fanned with a chamara fan and an umbrella should be placed over his head. The Hare Krishna mantra and approved songs should be sung. Musical instruments should be played, and one should dance before the deity. One should circumambulate the deity, and we do have a circumambulation path all around the temple. One should again offer obeisances. One should offer different types of prayers and hymns at the lotus feet of the Lord. One should touch the lotus feet of the Lord with one's head. This may not be possible for everyone, but at least the pujari should do this. The flowers offered on the previous day should touch one's own head. One should take the remnants of the Lord's food. So when we're taking the flowers off of the altar or from the Vyasa, we should touch them to our head. This is very important. Oh, and Paran is a little early today. No, but it's okay. It's by 9 something. One should take remnants of the Lord's food. One should sit before the Lord and think that he is massaging the Lord's legs. One should decorate the Lord's bed with flowers before the Lord takes his rest. One should offer one's hand to the Lord. One should take the deity to his bed. One should wash the feet of the Lord and then sit him on his bed. One should place the Lord on his bed and then massage his feet. So these are all lovely things, but arti should be offered to the deities 5 times every day. Early in the morning before sunrise, later in the morning, at noon, in the evening, and at night. This means that there should be worship and a change of dress and flowers. And actually, as Srila Prabhupada did set up some of these things, not every single thing, but many things. We did quite elaborate puja. And there were 6 artis a day in Chicago, for example. And the Lord his clothes were changed twice a day, every day. Anyway, there are more things here, so we can read through these things sometime. These are very nice to hear. Beautiful. Srimati Lakshana Ara Shalagrama Lakshana Krishna Chaitra Jatra Krishna Murti Darashana. The deity, characteristic of the deity should be discussed, as well as the characteristics of the Shalagram Shila. You should also discuss visiting the deities in the temple and touring holy places like Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. Not only going to do these things, but discussing about these things. We are not generally worshipping the Shalagram Shila. That is a very, very, very strict type of worship. We are worshipping Giriraj. That's more in our line. But we have to remember that these books are, many of them were given in order to regulate the worship, the proper worship in India. And they're not necessarily applicable in all of these things in the Western countries. Srila Prabhupada explained that because it's not necessary actually. Our main focus is on Siddhanta and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, trying to chant without offense, and worshipping the deity regularly, but not with so much strictness. That can be done, but it is not necessary to do so many strict things. The characteristic of the deity should be discussed. Nama Mahima Nama Parada Dui Barjana Vaishnava Lakshana Seva Parada Kandana. You should glorify the holy name and explain that one must carefully give up offenses when chanting the holy name. Did you get that, by the way?
I received the email, yes.
Yeah, okay. You should also, actually we're not supposed to hold our meat. You should also describe the symptoms of a Vaishnava and explain that one must give up or nullify all kinds of seva aparad, offenses in deity worship. Okay, there are 32 offenses to the deity that one should be avoided. One should not enter the temple in a vehicle. So that sounds funny to us because our temples are all inside enclosed houses, but the temples in India are often quite open. And then there's the Nat Mandir where the devotees assemble for chanting and classes and so on, then there's a little space, and then the building where the deity is separate. You can see them when you go to, it's a little different. So no one should go in a vehicle. He should walk in. Shoes and slippers should be removed before entering the temple.
A slipper? What is it? A slipper?
Slippers just means, in this context, like sandals. So we're not wearing them. So again, that would be easy to do in India because it's open. But nobody's, of course, wearing shoes inside of the temple room. One should offer obeisances as soon as he sees the deity. One should enter the temple after taking a bath. In other words, one should be very clean. One should not offer obeisances to the Lord with one hand. So both hands. What to speak of no hand? It's always. One should not circumambulate the demigods before the deities. One should not spread his legs before the deities. One should not sit down before the deity with his legs crossed, nor should one touch his legs with his hands. I'm not sure what legs crossed means, because for us we call this cross-legged. But what that means here, I'm not really sure.
Maybe
extended and crossed.
maybe like this.
I don't know. I really don't know. One should not lie down before the deity. One should not eat before the deity. One should not speak lies before the deity. One should not speak very loudly before the deity, meaning shouting. One should not talk nonsense before the deity. One should not cry before the deity. But sometimes the devotees are crying before the deity in one sense, in a prayerful way or in so many things, but one should not cry about lament before the deity. One should not deal with others before the deity. Deal with that meaning ordinary conversations, actually. Conversations about ordinary subject matters are not to be carried out before the deity. One should not utter harsh words before the deity. One should not cover himself with a blanket. One should not talk enviously of others before the deity. One should not praise others before the deity. And of course this means, it's some mundane kind of praise, but we are praising the Vaishnava. That is not wrong. But we're not praising some mundane thing ever. That's wrong. One should not talk enviously. Okay. And we just, anyway, I think it's clear. One should not use slang before the deity. Meaning, one should not pass air before the deity. One should not neglect the 64 items of deity worship. One should not eat anything not offered to the deity. One should not neglect offering seasonal fruits as soon as they're available. One should always offer fresh, untouched fruit to the deity. One should not sit with his back toward the deity. One should not offer obeisance to others before the deity. One should not sit near the deity without taking the spiritual master's permission. One should not be proud to hear himself praised before the deity. One should not blaspheme the demigods. One should not be unkind to others before the deity. And one should observe all the festivals in the temple. And one should not fight or quarrel before the deity. Okay. Shankachala Ganda Pushpa Dupadi Lakshana Japastuti Parikrama Dandavat Vandana. The items of worship such as water, conch shell, flowers, incense, and lamp should be described. You should also mention chanting softly, offering prayers, circumambulating, and offering obeisances. All these should be carefully described, and these are all mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. All right then. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gaurachandra Jai Giraju Ki Jai. Beautiful. So these again, Mahaprabhu is talking to Srila Sanatana Goswami and describing to him what Sanatana Goswami should teach others in his books, all about these subject matter. Hari Bol. Any question or comment?
Did you really read all the 31 offenses? Can you read it?
Yeah, I just read them. I mean, it didn't seem like it was 31.
I thought they were less. Like, I thought you didn't mention them all.
Yeah, I did. But, I think so. Yeah, I think so. $31, yeah. Yeah. Oops. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Dhardev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. We are continuing to read this beautiful verse, these beautiful verses given by Srila Guru Maharaj, composed by Srila Guru Maharaj in praise of Srila Saraswati Thakur after his disappearance. Shri Shri Daita Das Dashakam Jai. Shri Prapanna Jivanamrtan Ki Jai. This is the verse number 7 of this Dashakam. He, meaning Srila Saraswati Thakur, he inundated, means he flooded. He inundated the whole universe of countless living beings, whether Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, less than Shudra, and even Mlecha, with the oceanic nectar of the holy name of Sri Radha Krishna. So this verse, we've been looking at all these regulations of Varnashram that are cancelled, or these strictures, if one is become a initiated Vaishnava in bona fide line. And this eliminates so many things that we're not really capable of following anyway. Although unapproachable by the liberationists and yogic perfectionists, he is known as the friend of the fallen, the mercy potency of Sri Gauranga. O Dinanayana, wherever that great soul may be, please swiftly take this servitor there. This is the 8th verse. Do I have a hope to ever see that beautiful golden personality who makes everything auspicious for the world? Do I have a hope to ever behold that tall figure once again? His blue lotus eyes, his nose that excels the charm of the tila flower, his forehead that shames the half moon, his graceful lotus face, his gleaming pearl white teeth, his long arms extending to his knees. O Dinanayana, wherever that great soul has gone, please swiftly take this servitor there. And the 9th verse. In the year of our Lord Gauranga, 450, in the month of Posha, on the 4th day of the dark fortnight of the moon, in the star of Magha, at the closing of the night of Brihaspativar, 5:30 a.m., the 1st of January 1937, that most beloved attendant of Srimati Vrishabhanu Nandini entered into the eternal pastimes. O Dinanayana, wherever that great soul may be, quickly take this servitor there to him. The entire earth and skies were filled with the cries of anguish of the people and of the disciples devoted to the service of Sri Gurudev's lotus feet. Where has that great master gone? Alas, today the whole universe seems empty and in the separation of Prabhupada. The servitor of Gurudev cannot endure even a moment of his separation. O Dinanayana, wherever that great soul may be, please quickly take this servitor there to him. This is fun, anyway. Hare Krishna. And the next composition of Srila Guru Maharaj is here on page 211, aspiring for the dust of Srimad Rupa Goswami's lotus feet. This is a prayer in aspiration for the dust of the holy feet of Srila Rupa Goswami. This is the first verse. Srila Rupa Goswami is the mine of the most precious treasure, the leader of the associates of Lord Chaitanya, the divine succession, being known as the Rupanuga Sampradaya, or the followers of Sri Rupa. In the company of his brothers, he was resplendent in the province of Goda, causing the fervent twin bumblebees in the form of the lotus eyes of Sri Chaitanya Dev to drink nectar. As the Lord's lotus feet moved on the pretext of visiting Vrindavan, when will that Srimad Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his lotus feet? And the second verse. At Sri Ramakelidam, the king of bees, the heart of Sri Rupa, became intoxicated drinking the honey wine of the lotus feet of Sri Gaurachandra, and sacrificed its life in Hari Kirtan for the benefit of all the people of the world, summarily abandoning a life of kingly opulence. You saw Srila Rupa Goswami previous to joining Mahaprabhu. Are you there? Previous to joining Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami was extremely wealthy, like kingly opulent, and he gave all that up easily. He sacrificed that life easily in order to overflood the world with love of Godhead. And he not only just took a little bit lower kind of comfort, he left all considerations of any kind of comfort and lived under trees, one after another. So this is verse. At Sri Ramakelidam, the king of bees, the heart of Sri Rupa, became intoxicated drinking the honey wine of the lotus feet of Sri Gaurachandra, and sacrificed his life in Hari Kirtan for the benefit of all the people of the world, summarily abandoning a life of kingly opulence. After informing his elder brother Sri Sanatan, Sri Rupa and his younger brother Sri Vallabha followed in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Dev, whose heart was absorbed in going from Nilachal to Sri Vrindavan. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? So both Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami met with Mahaprabhu on his way to Vrindavan. This is the third verse. Sri Chaitanya Dev returned from Vrindavan to Prayagdam and performed Nam Sankirtan, surrounded by crowds of hundreds of thousands. Intoxicated with divine love, dancing, he melted the hearts of hundreds of faithful souls with his astonishing transcendental ecstasies. Sri Rupa, as though regaining his most precious treasure, thus found Sri Chaitanya Dev in the direct presence of the deity of Sri Bindu Madhava. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? 4th verse. At the sacred spot on the confluence of the Ganga and the Jamuna, Sri Rupa achieved intimate union with the lotus feet of the dearmost Lord of his life, the Lord who is Krishna within and Gaura without. In grave humility, with a straw in his mouth and with tears of sorrow, he, along with his younger brother, Sri Ballabha, worshipped Sri Gaura Krishna in intense love. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? 5th verse. Sri Chaitanya Dev saw Sri Rupa with his younger brother rolling on the ground some distance away. Seeing his endeared one, his favorite, his love divine personified in natural beauty and charm, his exclusive alter ego in divine pastimes, the Lord swiftly approached Sri Rupa, profusely singing his glories, and embraced him in ecstasy. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? Verse 6. Sri Gaurahari knew that as an eternal associate of the Lord, Sri Rupa was already proficient in wandering throughout the ambrosial ocean of all mellows in the land of unalloyed love, Sri Brajaras. Nonetheless, to expand his own pastimes, the Lord enabled him to drink the sweet ecstasy of servitude unto Sri Radha and empowered him with the skill to distribute the nectar of his personal devotional service. When will that Srimad Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his lotus feet? The 7th verse. When on the order of Sri Gauranga, Sri Rupa visited Sri Purushottam Kshetra, after completing the circumambulation of Sri Brajamandala, he highly gratified Sri Chaitanya Dev and the sagacious devotees assembled, headed by Sri Swarup Damodar and Sri Ramananda Rai, by his ambrosial poetry on the pastimes of this divine couple of Braja. When will that Srimad Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his lotus feet? So we hear all of these things in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this is all being summarized here. The glories of Srila Rupa Goswami's interactions with Sri Chaitanya Dev in complete surrender and divine love, and is being empowered by the Lord to distribute these divine mellows of Braja. He's an eternal servant of the Lord in Brajadam, in the very highest kind of service that is ever performed in Brajadam. He is the leader of this sampradaya coming from Mahaprabhu. So Srila Rupa Goswami also composed the Lalita Madhava and the Vidagdha Madhava, and this was just very much charmed the Lord to hear that, after coaxing Rupa Goswami to give some explanation of those revealed verses, and all the devotees were very, very charmed by that divine revelation coming from Rupa Goswami. Perfect internally, and in terms of the form of the composition was also perfect. Text number 8. When the manifest Leela of the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Dev was withdrawn, when Mahaprabhu left the world, all beings, including the immobile entities, were mortified, deeply afflicted with sorrow. Sri Rupa and his elder brother were the only shelter For even the intimate devotees of the Lord, headed by Raghunath, Gopal Bhatta, and Sri Jiva, who had almost lost their lives because of the Lord's separation. When will that Srimad Rupa Goswami grace me with the dust of his lotus feet? So after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, all the devotees took shelter in Rupa Goswami's lotus feet. By writing many, many books, he gave the world all the most cherished desires of his worshipful Lord Sri Chaitanya Dev, principally revealing the service of the deity, establishing the pure code of conduct in devotion, revealing the lost holy places, and revealing the path of spontaneous devotion, Ragamarg, in transcendental loving service to Sri Radha Govinda. When will that Srimad Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? So all these books given by Srila Rupa Goswami, all about the means, or abhideya, the means of progress in devotional life. Just prior to the withdrawal of his manifest Leela, my causeless divine merciful divine master Srila Saraswati Thakur handed me over to the holy lotus feet of that divine personality by having me sing the glorious prayer to his lotus feet, which is Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. That song is the highest song for us. But when Srila Saraswati Thakur was about to leave the world, he called for Srila Sridhar Maharaj to come and sing that song. And it was in the night. And Guru Maharaj had been with Srila Saraswati Thakur for some time, staying with him. Then he went to lie down for a little bit. But they called him, no, Prabhupada's calling for you. And he said, you chant Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. That's a very high song, glorifying Srila Rupa Goswami's divine position. And it was composed by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And it's not a song that everyone can sing properly. But he properly means with, only actually, I'm just going to say, only Guru Maharaj could sing that song properly, with proper consciousness. And another person was instructed to sing because Guru Maharaj was hesitating. He was hesitating because he doesn't want to disturb Srila Gurudev. He didn't feel that. Anyway, he was shy to start. And somebody else, and with a very beautiful voice, was instructed to sing it because they're thinking, oh, Srila Saraswati Thakur wants to hear this song. Sridhar Maharaj is hesitating, shyly hesitating. And we saw that in the nature of Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami, when asked by Sri Chaitanya Dev to recite some shlokas from his compositions, he was also shy and hesitating. This is the nature. But when Srila Saraswati Thakur heard this other devotee begin to sing, he said, no, I don't want to hear the nice tune. Only Sridhar Maharaj can sing this song. And this incident, just before his disappearance, established Srila Guru Maharaj as the leader of the Sampradaya. And everyone felt that. And these are very exalted followers of Srila Prabhupada. They felt that transference going to Srila Guru Maharaj as the leader of the Rupanuga Sampradaya, as the Acharya of the Rupanuga Sampradaya. Who can do that? Who can represent Sri Rupa? This is no small thing. And that was exclusively bestowed on Guru Maharaj. Despite my lowliness, when will, disregarding all my various qualifications and disqualifications, when will Sri Madhrupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? Hare Krishna. Now the next song given here. We're very fortunate to have this anthology of divine compositions by Srila Guru Maharaj. He's very, very generously gave us these compositions at the conclusion of this book. But he gave those in order that we will hear the glories of these great personalities. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Rupa Goswami. And then again, concluding with homage to Sri Daita Das, which is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I think we will continue with this tomorrow because I don't want to feel rushed going through these prayers. Any questions or comments?
How come one chant the bhajans properly?
It is really important to be practicing intently during the day, during every day, and to notice one's disqualifications and lack of surrender. And these bhajans, these songs, they will come to life. The outpouring of the feelings of the Vaishnavas, we cannot really fully, of course, experience any of those things. But we are in that line and being guided and blessed with their holy mercy. Those songs can come to life, but must sing them attentively. And we should know, we should be looking at the English and coming into the world of prayer. Vandana. This is all Vandana. Offering prayers to the Lord. And they're very, and some are about the Lord, but most of these are to the Lord, or to the spiritual master, or to Tulsi Devi. So, to Mahaprabhu, to Radha and Krishna, and all these things. These are prayers. So, when we see our own lack of qualification, then we feel increasingly the need for surrender and the need for divine help. So attentively, it's not only during the kirtans that we're singing these songs, but in the daytime, noticing throughout the day the necessity for surrender. So this is, but these songs are the outpouring of these. This is a sound manifestation of the hearts of these Vaishnavas. They're so exalted, inconceivably, immeasurably, incomparably exalted in their nature of divine love. And we get to sing those songs which are the outpouring or the form of sound of their hearts. So we should do that very attentively and with great we are worshiping the very song that we're singing. Very high things and beautiful things. Does that help?
Yes.
Otherwise it's just da-da-da-da-da and then come here and sing the song. Well, that's also there, because that can also remind us, oh yes, I forgot. That's why it's very important to be in an environment where these things are being done regularly. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam means regularly. To hear, like in that case in the Srimad Bhagavatam, to hear our scriptures regularly and to sing these songs regularly. Otherwise, the mind is just so unfixed, right? just wanders off into this and that and that. So we are really trying to always bring the mind back. Oh yes, to remind us to remind. And it's very sweet, very sweet. Our process is really so, so enjoyable. There's nothing unhappy in it. Oh, the mind is giving us trouble. But the process itself is very sweet. Taking prasadam with the best people, having the best discussions, living in the sweetest place, always surrounded by cleanliness, and the beauty of the worship of the deity. Srimati Tulsi Devi, a little Tulsi forest here, and the garden, just surrounded by beautiful things, wonderful things, and hearing divine sound from the greatest souls that have ever touched their lotus feet on this earth. I mean, this is such a nice life. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prapanna Jivanamrtan ki Jai. Jai Srila Om Vishnupad Bhakti Rakak Sri Dadev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Shivadu Sudana. Giridhari Caitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhadra Raghunana Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunana Echa Gosai Gori Charana Vandana Jai Devi Gana Samsta Purana
Jai Saparika Shishi Guru Chanyu Giriyaju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Yoganideva Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Jamuna Ji Ki Jai. Srimati Dasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Ki Jai. Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitya Gaur Premanandi Haribo.
Srimati Lekha Devi Ki Jai.
Gurudev Ki Jai.